Welcome to Eye on Crypto, where we delve into the crypto flow and share the insights you need to know.
In this video, we dive into an extremely undervalued, blue-chip crypto that is one of the most advanced decentralized operating systems in the world, and is currently down 97%, and is probably the safest, easy 50x on your money in the crypto market today. Show some support and tap that like button, as we reveal all. This is not financial advice. The cryptocurrency market is extremely volatile and prices can go up and down quickly. Always do your own research before investing in anything. Right now, this one blue chip project is one of the top layer 1 blockchains and is currently close to its lowest price ever. So let's take a look at the charts and why this token is one of the safest bets, and could 50x in the next bull run. Algo is currently sitting at 11 cents, down 96.85% from its all-time high of $3.56. The recent announcement from the SEC that Algo is a security saw its price fall again, creating a new all-time low on June 23. The fact of the matter is, by the time the next bull market comes, the SEC's stance on which coins are securities is likely to change, and even if it doesn't, no one will care whether Algo is classified as a security or not. As well as being one of the only crypto projects that truly solves the blockchain trilemma, Algo is also one of the few ISO 20022 compliant cryptos. The founder of Algorand is an MIT professor and a pioneer in the crypto space and co-creator of widely adopted crypto protocol Zero Knowledge Proof. This is actually one of the best alternative layer 1 blockchain projects around, as we explained in full detail in a previous video. If Algorand was to return to its previous all-time high, that would already be over a 30x from today's prices. A very reasonable 50x would see Algo at $5.60, which is not even twice its previous all-time high. In a recent interview, C.T.O. John Woods explained more about the project and the latest exciting updates. So stay tuned for the top points of that interview, and be sure to check out our other detailed video on Algorand later if you want to learn more about its founder and use case. We edited the following interview to highlight the key points. Credit for the video interview goes to the Beanpod, and we will also link to their Twitter profiles below. This video is provided for commenting, reporting, and education purposes only.
C.T.O. at the foundation, and just to give a little bit of background as to my career history. In terms of the crypto things I've done, I worked at Consensus, which is an Ethereum-based blockchain studio, focused on leading out architecture and applied cryptography. So building out the software architecture for Ethereum-based enterprise apps, and also working on the applied cryptographic primitives that we would use. And then more recently, before I joined Algorand, I was the head of architecture and applied crypto over at IOHK, the company behind Cardano. So I was the chief architect there, and I was responsible for architecture and engineering on Cardano for the time that I spent there. Yeah, so Algorand is a very attractive layer 1 blockchain. And I can say that because I guess I've worked across some of the industry's best projects. I've worked across, the blue chip layer 1 projects that are out there. And so I kind of have an insight into the state of the art and what represents fantastic engineering in terms of the blockchain space, and so I can say that when I look at Algorand, when I was considering the role and about to join the firm, the foundation, that is, really what stood out to me was the quality of the engineering. The differences, say, between Algorand and say Ethereum and Cardano is that Algorand is built for speed and precision. Block finality within 3.5 seconds. And it's going to be going down to about 3.2 seconds or 3.3 seconds with an update very shortly. Algorand manages to achieve all of this, decentralization, self-sovereignty, etc. All of those great things I talked about, like the TPS and the finality, and doing so whilst using about 80 kilowatts of energy. And I've been trying to kind of paint people a picture on what 80 kilowatts kind of means. And it's like a Tesla being charged, if you like. I think most Teslas, when they're on a supercharger, they're hitting about 150 kilowatts. So it's like half the amount of energy a Tesla uses at a supercharger. On Algorand and other proof of stake chains, but specifically on Algorand, where the power consumption is extremely low, the consensus algorithm doesn't use this mining thing. It's no longer doing this mathematical problem, making your computer hot. Instead, your computer, when it's running Algorand, runs extremely cool. And so not a lot of power is used. And so how do we achieve, so the natural question is probably, well, that's great and everything, but how do you achieve consensus? How do you achieve a secure network whilst also being decentralized and not using any power? It sounds like Bitcoin thought you needed to use power to achieve those things. And the answer to that is the breakthrough that Silvio Micali, who's our founder, who's the founder of Algorand. Silvio is an Italian academic. He is a professor in cryptography. He has been, he's a world-renowned mathematician and cryptographer, and he's got a Wikipedia page. You can look him up, type Silvio Micali Wiki, and you'll see it on Google. And he has invented many, many things that we use today globally on the internet, primitives or Lego bricks that you can build more complicated things with in mathematics and cryptography. Silvio's work pioneered zero-knowledge proofs. It pioneered things called VRFs, verifiable random functions. Now, folks may not have heard of a lot of this stuff, but it's used every single time you talk to your bank. It's used in day-to-day when you're using the internet in a secure way. So the key insight into how Algorand manages to achieve consensus in a decentralized, secure, and scalable way, but not using much energy, comes back to that VRF thing he invented. This VRF thing, what it really lets us do is take the entire decentralized swarm, if you can think of it like a swarm of bees, where every bee is a node in the Algorand network. That's the decentralization, right? There's thousands of these nodes. They're all talking to each other. And this VRF lets us pick one of those bees from the swarm to produce a block. It then lets us pick from the blocks that are proposed, whittle it down to a single block. So let's say in the first stage, we end up with a number of bees that are selected as an example. We can then, in our second stage, run this VRF process, again, using very little energy, as in your Apple Watch could run it, your Casio calculator could run it. It's very low computational effort. But we can run this consensus algorithm again, this VRF, and now have everyone form on one block. The entire network agrees on a single block. And then finally, that block is verified and added to the chain. And this whole process of selecting blocks to be proposed from the swarm, verifying the block, and then adding it to the chain, this all happens in around 3 seconds or 3.3 seconds. There's a lot of horseshit out there, and it's really infuriating. And so, look, Algorand is not, I'm not saying it's the absolute greatest in every single category. It doesn't have the highest number of TPS. I think that probably goes to Solana or something like that. It maybe doesn't have the greatest educational docs. I'd say that goes to Near, which is also a very interesting project. I'm a fan of that one. I don't hold any of it, but I still really like it. But Algorand is great on all the things that matter. It has a very fast and high precision virtual machine that executes Turing complete code, so that you can basically express anything in a smart contract. It has a killer finality. It's probably the secret sauce, really, is this finality, this idea that on Bitcoin, you've got to wait for confirmations. On Cardano, okay, on Bitcoin, you wait an hour. Cardano, you wait 2 minutes. On Algorand, you wait 3 seconds. But those virtues about TPS being 10,000 or 80,000, 10,000 or 5,000 or 10,000 or 100, those things to me, they only matter. This finality, this TPS, the VM stuff, all the geeky stuff around the smart contracts, all that stuff only matters if your blockchain is also decentralized, secure, and robust and scalable as a fourth one, I guess. And so not all of the chains that call themselves kind of the greenest, fastest, bestest, not all of them can say that they're decentralized. Many of them have centralized coordinators. I think, I've seen a number, I don't like picking on chains, but like we've seen a number of times where the validators are turned off, and all of a sudden, we'll just pause transactions on the network for a while. Quite a funny one. Going to robust. Being robust is very important. I'm not saying systems have no downtime. It's okay to have some downtime. That's natural. Netflix has downtime. Google has downtime. Very little, but it has it sometimes. And so we always want to solve for a robust network that people can rely on. I can stand here now and say that Algorand's had no downtime in mainnet. It may not always stay that way, because of course this stuff is hard, and it's very hard to maintain 100% uptime in any electronic service or any digital service. But we've done a pretty great job at keeping the network, writing a network and architecting a network that's robust, and also operating that network in a robust but decentralized way. There's a lot of spoofers out there. It breaks my heart when I see some of them, especially because there's a lot of good guys too, but there's a ton of spoofers that get more limelight sometimes than they should. And I think Algorand is killer good in every category that matters, whilst also actually being decentralized, actually being secure and scalable, and actually being robust and reliable. One of the things I'm most proud about was what we've done with AlgoKit, but maybe we can talk about it a little bit later. But AlgoKit is just this tool suite we launched that helps people build apps in the easiest way in the shortest time frame possible. And so since we've built AlgoKit, we've seen a huge adoption of this. And so for AlgoKit, we've seen tens of thousands of downloads in the first few weeks of launch. Now, that's not going to stay like that forever, because at some point, everyone's got a copy of it and they don't really need to download it again.
Sure.
But like, it was just thrilling to see that there was actually a huge glut of people who really needed a tool like that, and were quick to jump on it and embrace it. One of the projects I'm proud to have on the chain, I should say, is are things like Hesab Pay. So there's an application out there, a DApp, that provides a digital version of Afghan currency. The Afghan currency is called the Afghani. So Hesab Pay has managed to create a digital version of the Afghani, and that's cool. And it's accepted in over 10,000 merchants across Afghanistan. One thing actually I'm personally excited about it is ticketing, and the idea that we can get rid of Ticketmaster and kind of like allow, whether it's a Guns N' Roses concert or it's a Real Madrid game, allow resale of tickets between people in a way that can be trusted, in a way that you know that the ticket is real, and you cut out the tax and the middleman. I mean, not the government tax, but the tax that things like Ticketmaster put on. So those kind of things I think are super cool. And so I don't think it's going to be very long before we see significant moves in that direction, because it is such an obvious play. And certainly Algorand has the tech right now, both in terms of the developer tools and the operating system, that is the network, to deliver on that at a global scale. And so in terms of like what's coming, so there's a whole bunch of things. Let me start with the one-click nodes. The one-click, like, we have a small enough team at the foundation. It's tens of people, not hundreds of people. And so, we only can kind of achieve so much as an engineering team. It's a very small little core kind of engineering team. And so the one-click nodes just started as an idea. And my idea was, it should be really easy for someone to take an old computer, an old MacBook, an old Windows computer, whatever, and run one of these nodes so that they can contribute to the decentralization of the network. And so on Algorand, we've got participation nodes and relay nodes. And participation nodes, or I like to call them consensus nodes, they do consensus. They make the blocks, they validate the blocks, etc. And so I want to make it super easy for people to run both of these types of nodes, but specifically the participation nodes, because that adds to the decentralization of the network. The more people that are staking algo, the more secure algo is. And so what I'm going to try to do, and it will be released this month, we're going to hit the Q2. What's going to happen is people will be able to hit our website, copy a single line, a single command, run that on their computer, and then up will come an Algorand node running, properly configured, etc. A normal person who's not a computer genius can run an Algorand node and contribute to the health of the network. I would say as well, another thing I'm very excited about this year, 2 killer features that are going to open up Algorand development to everyone. And so I'm not allowed to talk too much about it because they want to do a big exciting announcement soon enough. But that's basically the headline is accessibility to everyone for building on Algorand. Very much modeled after what Apple have done with Swift, where kids with an iPad now can get their first app up and running because the language is just so simple. To increase decentralization for the network as a whole, and I'm working on that with the Ink. So I think there's good news, exciting news coming there as well, but I won't get into the specifics until it's nailed down.